Okay.
I missed that remark.
I missed it too, yeah. I took my big takamini with me. Yeah. I sat every night by the water. Okay. Achas shalti meis Hashem, meis Hashem, meis Avokei. Achas shalti meis Hashem, meis Hashem, meis Avokei. Ay shifti shifti meis Hashem, no yemei chayai. La'zay la'zay v'nai Hashem, u'levaker v'chol. Ay shifti shifti meis Hashem. Hashem, go give me chayai. Lachazay, lachazay, minayim Hashem, olevakei chalai. Achat shalti meis Hashem, meis Hashem, meis avagei. Achat shalti meis Hashem. Hashem, I saw again. I shifty, shifty, bebeis Hashem, oh you make chayai. Nachzay la'alem and I am Hashem, ulevaker b'chol. I shifty, shifty, bebeis Hashem, oh you make chayai. Nachzay la'alem and I am Hashem, ulevaker b'chol. Ay la 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 la. It's almost as if we're certain that if we are zochet to sit in the house of Hashem, it's to be able to gaze at the sweetness of Hashem. Shifti Yavis Hashem Kolei Chayai. Why should I be zochet to dwell in the house of Hashem all the days of my life? Because I'm certain that if I dwell in the house of Hashem, what's going to happen? Lachzos benoam Hashem. I'm going to be able to witness and experience how sweet it is to sit in the house of Hashem. So everyone has all these ideas of what does it look like to be a Baal Tshuva on the other side, you know. David HaMelech tells us straight out already. He's like, listen, that's all it's about, to just be in the presence of sweetness, like being in love. Bezrat Hashem, we should all fall. This should be a falling in love season, and already is, Baruch Hashem, and I'm so happy we're back. Chasdei Hashem. And so we said that this morning is sponsored Leilu Nishmat, say again. Shmuel ben Chana. The sponsorships of I miss saying this so much, you have no idea. The sponsorships of the month of Elul is by our dear Chaver Michael in Pomona for now, until he's back here, Be'ez Hashem. Josh and Marilyn Adler in memory of Marilyn's Ima, Shifra Tzivia Bas Avram Yaakov Cohen and Esther Hensha, and also memory of Josh's father, Yitzchak ben Tzvi. I don't know how many of you remember him, Mr. Adler. What a sweet, sweet man he was. Probably just you, Reb David. No? Who else? You remember him? Oh, Tamov, yeah. Mr. Adler. And Mindy Barad in honor of the birth of twin grandsons. That's beautiful. And it's beautiful. Shleimah Tinok ben Chana. Thanks to. Okay, we should hear good news, Be'ezer Hashem. Back in Yom Machamadim, Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter. Open up if you have the Sefer Daf Kuf Chav Beis, and we'll get more Sfarim if need. Kuf Chav Beis. And boys, we're jumping right back into where we stopped last time. We're in the middle of this is the longest parak in the Sefer Zemirot B'Shvachim, speaking about the importance of singing at the Shabbos table. It's not, we really established that it's avoda. You know the singer, he's the best. Joey Newcomb, you've heard of Joey Newcomb, right? So his whole thing is avodas. What's the avoda of, yeah? He was on Reb Ephraim's podcast. That's the whole shaila. What's this you and avoda? The avoda of this, the avoda of this. What's that? The Y. Avoda, not avoda. Avoda. What's the avoda? Everything's an avoda. Everything's an avoda. Everything's an opportunity to do some kind of avodas Hashem. So there is such tremendous avodas Hashem that's available to us at the Shabbos table. Many aspects of the Shabbos table. But one of the main ones that we've been focusing on is the avodas Hashem that is basically manifested through Zemirot Shabbat. It's nigunim at the Shabbos table. I don't know how many of you grew up with strong Zemirot at the Shabbos table, but it's really a game changer. It's absolutely a game changer. Whether you're singing the actual Zemirot of Shabbos or whether it's just nigunim, that's already a different chiluk. We're actually going to see about this actual Zemirot of Shabbat and where it came from, even where it originated. The ones we have today. When we started speaking about this, some of the most beautiful words in the world are in the Zemirot of Shabbos. Not just the Arizal's famous three, those epic three of Azamar B'Shvachim, Asadi L'Sudas and B'nei Echala for each Seudah, but every Zemer is filled. It's like Ruach HaKodesh. So we're going to see something amazing in here. Daf Kuf Chav Beis, we're in the second, in the left column. No. Only the three. Only those three. מהדרכים לבוא ולהגיע לידי דבקות ואהבה בהשם יזברך, הוא על ידי שאנו מזמרים שירות ותשבחות לפניו יזברך שמו. From the ways of coming close, to come to dvekus and ahava and Hashem. Listen, Elu, Tshuva, this is all what we're trying to do, to come to ways of dvekus and ahava and Hashem. הוא על ידי שאנו מזמרים שירות ותשבחות לפניו יתברך שמו, by singing these mirrors, by singing ניגונים before Hashem. בכלל, by singing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But he says here, kegon be'es amiras azmiras b'Shabbos kodesh. But specifically with Zmiros and Shabbos, שאומרים זמירות שירות ותשבחות שנתקנו על ידי גדולי ישראל ברוח קודשם. Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter says, Zmiros, what we say in the Shabbos table, were incorporated and fixed and established by Gdolei Yisrael beruach HaKodesh, beruach Kodsham. Now, how do you know who wrote what? You all know this, right? It's all the acronyms. Usually, kimat all of them, their name is in the acronym, right? Huh? Acrostics, yeah. Of kimat each zemer. I don't know if it's every, but kimat each zemer that we have.
Why is it important that they do that?
What's that?
Why do they encode their name in there?
Why do you encode your name on the farm?
I do.
No. There's obviously, it's a good question what you're saying. There's obviously a lot in there It was like their rishimu of it. Maybe it was the way for them to remember the nigun as well. I don't know.
Well, it became through Ruach HaKodesh. That's how it came down to them.
And if it became through Ruach HaKodesh, then that's the way that it came down. But I'm sure there's more to it. But he says over here, "Vehit kablu bechol tfutzot Yisrael," which is a bigger chiddush than anything in the world. That what? It was actually received upon all of Am Yisrael. That's the greatest chiddush. More than anything else, it's like, oh wow, someone wrote a nigun, and it was accepted amongst most of all of Am Yisrael. You know, imagine today if someone said, we should establish a new zemer for Friday night, right? You'd have hafganot, you'd have, you'd have cherem, pashkevilim, you know. Right? Even that. Even great example. Nachon. So it's like a pele that really Zemirot is like have become accepted, and anyone that puts out a bencher, you know, it's all in there. It's all in there. Now go down to footnote. You see Gimel. Ayem b'Sefer HaKodesh Yismach Moshe. שכסף על זמירוס של שבס קודש, קבלה בידינו, שהזמירוס שנספשתו בישראל, נאמרו ברוח הקודש. This is not Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter's Chiddush. He's saying, go to the Yismach Moshe. You remember the Yismach Moshe? Yismach Moshe is the grandfather of Satmar. Right? It's an unbelievable sefer. Unbelievable sefer. I think he was from the Talmidim of the Chayz of Lublin, if I remember correctly. And there he says, yeah, the minhag is that Zmiros were established through Ruach HaKodesh by Chachamim. Yefeh. ועולים על שולחנות, back inside, ועולים על שולחנות השבתות של בני ישראל לדורותיהם. And now we have Shabbos tables of Am Yisrael for many generations have this. דיבורים אלו מבטאים היטב את קדושת השבת קודש. The words that we sing and the Zemirot of Shabbos, they clearly express the kedusha of Shabbos. ועל ידם אפשר לקנות קדושת שבת ואמונת השבת. He says, wow. Through the Zemirot of Shabbos, you could be koneh, you could acquire the holiness of Shabbos and the emunah of Shabbos. We did this a few months ago in one of the first shiurim we had in this parak. But if you go to any zemer right now, from Friday night, Shabbos day, Shabbos, choose one bitui, choose one expression, you could see how that could play such a integral role in your kinyan emunah, sometimes more than other things. Who wants to give an example? Choose one. Choose one zemer from Friday night, Shabbos day. Say it's some bitui there, just, does it all. I'll start, okay? Me'ein olam haba, that's pretty good. What else?
Habibi.
Yafeh. Continue. Right, with the words. Avarach Haman Yishlach Meshicho Haneeman. Come on. Nafshi Cholas Avasecha. Azina Bedina. Well, that's David HaMelech. That's Shir Malas. Nagid Hallelujah. All of them. It's all Geula. It's all Shabbos. It's all Kinyana Emunah, Kinyana Shabbat. These things should be emphasized. The children should have this mamish in their mamash, on the tip of their tongue, that they know Zemirot by heart. They have to say mamish. We, as you can imagine, we sang Zemirot, we sang a lot of Zemirot, and these words, all the words of the Zemirot, like myself, my siblings, it's because we know them all by heart, because it was every Shabbos, whatever it was. Now he continues and he says here something very interesting. Now this is going to help us with the first question we said, the avodah of Shabbos. If I were to tell you that the kinyan of dveikus that you could acquire through Zemirot Shabbos is even higher than fasting a fast day, what would you say? Well, if you're in this year, you'd say, of course, right? But generally speaking, you probably wouldn't. So look what he quotes here. This is from Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. This is amazing. Second page. Ubakuzari, Maimer Sheni. Al pi darko v'signono hamiyuchad. Maflig af hu, in his special way that only the Kuzari knew how to write. Maflig af hu me'od b'malas avodas Hashem mitoch negina v'simcha. He speaks greatly about the mila and of the avodas of Hashem when it comes through nigunim and comes through simcha. I just want to stop for a second. I sometimes always want to, not always, but sometimes, once in a blue moon, I want to pause the dancing on Friday night and as much as it's so high in the air, I want to just remind everyone, right now, this is avoda. It's not just like, let's get wild. It's avodas Hashem. It's a deep thing. It's a big inyan. It's a very big inyan. It's not just like, this is what we do here in Shed. There's a whole avodah that goes with it. Through singing, through dancing. שעבודה זו אינה נופלת על עבודת התעניות, ומשבח מאוד את עבודת הריקוד לקדושה. He says, this is, you think avodah of fasting is high? He says, check this out. And this is what he writes, וכן כתב. כללו של דבר, this is the Kuzari. שלושה הם יסודות עבודת האלוקה על פי תורתנו. There are three fundamentals of serving Hashem according to the Torah. Yira, ahava, and simcha. Awe, love, and joy. הזכרת את אלוקיך בכל אחת מאלה, כלומר שצריכים את שלושתם. You need all three. ואכן, בכניעתך בימי הטיינס, now this is amazing, as you're nichna, when you're, nichna, how do you say nichna? When you're surrendered, huh? Yeah, when you're surrendered, it's not exactly surrender. It's not, nichna means, achna is like submission. What happens to a person through a tainus, through a fast? They submit. There's something bigger than themselves that's happening, right? And they realize, ma'anu machayenu, what are we? So he says, b'chniascha b'yemei tainus, lo tikarev ela eloka yoter מאשר בשמחתך בשבתות וימים טובים. I'm sure you feel how holy and lofty and close וכולי through days of fasting, but just understand something. It's not greater than what a person, where he should be in a day of a simcha, in a day of Shabbos, day of Yantiv. אם שמחתך זו באה מתוך מחשבה וכוונה, if the simcha of the day comes from a place of avoda and of deep kavana. כי כשם שאתה חנון עם התפילה והבקשה, צריכים מחשבה וכוונה, just like talking to Hashem, tefillah, bakashas that happened on a fast day, slichas, צריכים מחשבה וכוונה, they need to have מחשבה and כוונה for it to truly be poel. כך גם השמחה בדבר האלוקה ובמצוותו צריכה מחשבה וכוונה. So too the simcha regarding the word of God and his mitzvahs, they need מחשבה and a כוונה, כמו שהתפילה צריכה כוונה, גם השמחה כן. He's saying just like tefillah needs kavana, simcha needs kavana. It's not so, for some people it's not, they don't want to hear that. Like that's the pashut pshat. You should say, where is this from? Well, David HaMelech said, Ivdu, not what would be the Targilu, or yeah, I mean it's an avoda. Ivdu is Hashem b'simcha. The simcha is an avoda. The simcha has to have kavana. It's not just like when I'm joyful, it's beautiful, I'm with my friend, with my chaverim, but the joy itself, the simcha itself, has to have, no, kavana means aim, right? Lechaven. What's that? We speak this every poem. Big stuff. Leman tismach b'mitzvah atzma mitoch ha'avascha lemitzvah aleh. So that you should rejoice in the mitzvah itself from your love of the mitzvah that you have. Now, the mitzvah of Shabbos is supposed to bring about us, into us, the awareness of how lucky we are. How lucky we are. So the more I realize how lucky we are, this is Hashem's plan for us. Matana tova yeshli v'zgnazai Shabbos shma. That every single Shabbos Hashem says, come back to this is for you. I saved this for you. This was like my point of creation. Come back to this place. That should bring about a tremendous joy in the simcha of the mitzvah of this yichud that happens on Shabbos. V'takir ma me'od etiv lecha ba u'ki'ilu basa lebeso. It's as if you've come into Hashem's house. Ki kuro al shulchano shelo yitbarach kevlechol min amav v'ten shevach al kach beficha v'vavcha. You ever really want to be invited to someone's house for Shabbos? Huh? To really be invited to someone's house, and then you get invited to that someone's house for Shabbos. What Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shechter is saying, like, who wouldn't want to be invited into Hashem's house for Shabbos? Who wouldn't want to come? Who wouldn't want to be at that tish? Do you know what the awareness of Shabbos is? The Chuneranan, all the things we say Friday night, this Kabbalah Shabbos is Hashem is saying you were invited, you're summoned, you're here. You're here right now. Does that bring a simcha? It brings a simcha, but it brings an avodah. May I be worthy of really sitting here, of being here, of this being part of my life, of this being something that I really feel connected to. Ve'im ta'ale alizuzcha b'mitzvos el madregas hazemer ve'arikud. And he continues and he says, and if your joy ascends to a place of mitzvah, of the level of, it brings you to a place of dancing and singing, im alidei islavus v'advekus v'asimcha be'elokim tetzeh b'rikud v'shira, yulecha gam eila avodat ha'elokim. This will be for you an avodah of Hashem. V'af al yadam tidabek be'inyan ha'eloki. And he's saying over here, godliness becomes something that's so tangible then in your life. Zot omeret, I can rejoice with kavana. But if the rejoicing of kavana is that which triggers me that I have so much simcha right now, I can't sit back. I have to get up and dance. Not, that's what we're doing right now. Big difference between this is what we're doing right now as opposed to I can't hold back. Same thing with Zemirot Shabbos. I'm sitting here, family, friends, eating, Me'il Olam Haba. I have to sing, as opposed to, okay, this is what we do now. Big difference. They're both avodas. But the Kuzari is saying about this, what it brings you to is something
One's
else.
fasting and one's singing.
Yafeh me'od. One is, yafeh.
I don't know
Yafeh.
where I learned this from, but I learned that it's the difference when David the Melech was composing it to one of the Tehillim. It's what he would either have Ruach HaKodesh first or have Ruach HaKodesh after. It's the difference of Mizmor LeDavid or LeDavid.
Mizmor yafeh me'od. Nachon me'od. Nachon. And that's why Shabbos is even so much higher, because it's not just Mizmor, it's Mizmor Shir. It's like this, the whole abundance, extra energy of Ruach HaKodesh coming to the Simcha of Mitzvah. The Beis Yaakov, the Ishbitz's son, it's like he has so many Torahs in Beis Yaakov where he basically starts off every parsha by explaining what Mizmor Shir Liyom HaShabbos means, based on this abundance of Shefa of Ruach HaKodesh coming down. How could you not? Okay, so I want to do one more piece today. This is the next piece is also very, very important. You've heard of the Charedim, the Sefer of Charedim, right? I'm not talking about, right? I'm not talking about Alavai, like the pnimius of the word Charedi should be something that each of us identify with, and mamash, like fully. The Charedim is a Sefer written by a great Kabbalist, Rabbi Elazar Askari, it was printed in 1601, so he's around the time of, right after the greatest of the greats of Tzfas, and this is what's happening. Reb Shimon just came down from Tzfas. I feel the Tzfas energy over here. So the Sefer, the Charedim, the Sefer is basically, it goes through all the Taryag mitzvahs, but it goes through it based on how it relates to each body part, every one of the mitzvahs. It's an unbelievable Sefer. It's unbelievable. So the Sefer HaKadosh Charedim Kasav, Shedvarim Eilu, Nichlelu b'mitzvahs ve'ahavtas Hashem Elokecha. The words we're saying are included in the mitzvah itself of loving Hashem. Ve'ahavtas Hashem Elokecha. And he writes over here, Shemiderech hachoshek leshorer. It's from the ways of the one that has passion to become a poet. Someone that has passion writes poetry. Look at Rav Kook. Meshorer Atshuva. The poet. Anyone that, I had a friend, I have a friend, Baruch Hashem, but many, many years ago, he was, he still is very passionate. Baruch Hashem, he's married, children. But years ago, when we were teenagers, we'd go to the Moshav for Shabbos. He fell in love with a different girl almost every Shabbos there, right? And he was so full of poetry, he wrote these, I couldn't believe these poems from the 1800s every week for a different girl that he had all these chesheks for, right? So he says, that's why I thought about this. Miderech hachoshek leshorer, right? From the way of the pathway of a cheshek, right? A passionate person that's passionate to compose. Ve'oev oto belev shalem. So if you really love God, belev shalem, Yashir lefanav yitbarach. You're going to sing before Hashem. Kasher sharu Moshe uvnei Yisrael. Just like as Yashir Moshe uvnei Yisrael. And the other shiros in the Torah and the Nach. Ubetokef acheshek bo yisbarach sharu lefanav gam harishonim ve'achronim. And he says, what do you think Rishonim and Achronim were busy doing? I mean, yeah, they were writing tshuvas all the time, but really, what were they doing? They were passionately singing to Hashem. Like who? Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, Rabbi Yehuda HaChassid, Ibn Ezra, v'chavreim zecher tzaddik v'kodesh l'bracha. What were they doing? They were passionate, and they were writing passionate love letters to Hashem. U'be'emshech kasav, and then he continues and he writes like this: Ha'ohev ha'ne'eman liyotzreinu yitbarach, יאור משנתו במתיקות זכרו, כדכסף החסיד בעל חובס הלבבוס, לא יישן כי אם על יצואי אהבתו, ולא יקיץ כי אם במתיקות זכרו, ויתגבר כעלים מחצות הלילה ואילך, ויקום להדר ולשבח לפניו, להתבודד ולהשתעשע בו וברינת תורתו. Anyone that's aware of what they have can't sleep. Simple. Anyone that's actually aware of having Torah, of having what we are under the assumption that we have, we know we have it. If we knew what we had, we wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Anyone that's aware of the gift of finding a soulmate in this world, and everyone should be zeicha to find their soulmates, not just those that aren't physically here with their soulmates, even those that are even more so, that are with their soulmates, to actually be aware of what they have, you wouldn't be able to sleep in this world. Those that discover what it is that they have when they say they have avodas Hashem, they have a kesher from Hashem, they wouldn't be able to sleep. The passion would arouse something so deep that would make them write love songs all day and all night. All day and all night. That's how he's quoting the beautiful Rishonim and the Achronim over here. ובסוף הספר, in the end of the Charedim, כסב, שזהו אחד מן הענפים היקרים ממצוות אהבת השם. It's one of the most precious branches of the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. שבהסלבוס החשק, with the passion, with the enthusiasm of the passion, ישיר האוהב שיר ידידות לפניו. The singer will sing a sing of, huh? You said something? The singer will sing a song of friendship before him. To compose songs of friendship with Hashem. ומביא קצת שירי אהבה אשר שרנו בשמחה בחברת חברים מקשיבים. He's saying, and you know, our chavra, we used to do this. We would sit together, we would speak about Avodas Hashem. This is what would end up happening. This is what the Charedim says. And אחד מהשירים שמביא שם הוא הפיוט ידיד נפש. And he says, one of the songs we would end up singing all the time was ידיד נפש. בשם בקשה על הייחוד וחשק האהבה. What's ידיד נפש? It's a request of yichud, of oneness, of being one, of the unity and the cheshek and the ahava. Now here's the treat for today. Go down to footnote Daled. Agav, מקובל שאת ניגון הדבקוס ידיד נפש ייסד בעל החרדים. He wrote ידיד נפש. אלא שמחמס ענוותנוסה לא גילה זאת. But because he was so humble, he didn't reveal it. Zomer, his name is not in the in the Rosh Tevas over there. It's not actually. It's, you know what it is. It's Yud Kei Vav Kei, right? It's namash not. It's Yud Kei Vav Kei Yedid Nefesh. That's how you always know what we're up to. By the way, whenever if you get lost a little bit in the image, it's like, wait, we're saying Vaslik. The Seder, second to last stanza. I kind of like this. One of the reasons that we in our shul, there's certain nigunim that we sing that are sung in every shul that we changed the nigun. One of the reasons is because it had to be. Like when we changed the Adon Olam years ago. I don't remember how many years ago it was. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago already we changed the Adon Olam, right? Yedid Nefesh we changed and we moved into the shul. Because I felt like, even though the other Yedid Nefesh is mamish geva, I love it. I mamish love it. Yedid Nefesh, especially the end, the nigun. It's amazing. But we sing the nigun written by Michal Shapiro every Friday night, who you could sense with that nigun and bichlal with his nigunim, everlasting love, and all the nigunim of his that we sing, he's a meshorer. He's a person with passion, literal passion, for what it means to be in a relationship with God, which led him to then write the music that he wrote. Like he said, I only kept songs that I ended up releasing only if I started crying while I wrote them. If it didn't bring me to tears, I didn't continue with it. So I told him a few months ago, I said, I want you to know, but there's hundreds of people that bring in Shabbos with your nigun every Friday night in Efrat. So he said, I said, which no? He said, you did Nefesh. And then he said, well, which one? I said, oh, I mean, there's more than, he's like, oh yeah. And then he said, and then he sent me what he felt is his most treasured piece of work, 4 different nigunim for each stanza of Yedid Nefesh. He says, these are my favorite. He sent it to me on a Thursday night. I knew we were going to be here Friday morning. I came early to shul somehow. I was able to get the kids out early. And I listened to it in the office. And I was like, I cannot believe that these things exist in the world. I just can't believe there's still people in the world today that are alive today that from a passion to be close to Hashem and an appreciation and the awareness of what we have brings them to such a place of letting something out. Like you have to let something out. You can't hold back. Like I have to get up and dance. I have to let out. If I have the talent, if Hashem gifted me with this das, I have to bring it out. It's like many people, they're fine with their love of Eretz Yisrael as a concept. Then you have the crazy meshuganas that start farms on hilltops. Because they have to bring it out. It can't just stay inside. It's not just something that I could be like, oh, I really feel passionate about this, and in my heart I'm very happy. What's the avoda? What's the avoda? What's the avoda? So we're just being reminded of seeing things as like awareness of what we already have is an important thing. It's the era of being under the assumption that we believe and love God because we're from or raised from. We're done with that. It's the illusion has been no more. Lo kayam. It's what's the avoda of this door? Yislavus. What's the avoda of the door? Passion, enthusiasm. But enthusiasm with kavana. Orot bekedim. Light in vessels. What Rav Yaakov Meir Shechter is reminding us here is that we're speaking about such gewalt things. This is given to us every meal, every Shabbos meal. This is given to us. Just pay attention to a few words in one of the Zemirot, and your whole life could be changed. Like, V'hashena meshubachat. We always laugh in our house. We don't know what that means anymore. With having little kids, that sleep is meshubach, right? But v'chein nafshi lecha orga. V'chein nafshi lecha orga. You can go this with every. V'lanuach bechibas kashoshanim suga bo yanuchu beinu bas. This is like every single stanza is filled with this invite to Hashem's tish and saying, Yalla, here's where Avodah happens. So give us a bracha. This Friday night, part of the tshuva of Elul should be the Shabbos table. It should be the Zemirot of Shabbos. It should be just, don't try to rush through them or make sure, it's holy to say, Zaidi sang this, we're going to sing it too. It's very, very holy. But Zaidi learned how to sing Zemirot from someone that also learned how to sing Zemirot, from someone who also learned how to sing Zemirot with a kavana, with some kind of a kivun inside. And if you want to learn new Zemirot, I'm happy to share with anyone, even though everything's available today, but happy to share with anyone anything that we sing, or if you want to learn new stuff, just to take advantage of whatever we have already, and it should bring the house so much shalom bayis, and simcha, and kedusha, and a jump to the melech that's in the field right now. Good Shabbos, shkoyach everyone, shkoyach.